I always thought that I'll be able to stick to what I think might be good for me, what might give me the things that seemed so good and doing such a positive impact on me, until I found out that sometimes the easiest and best impact you can give yourself is just doing something else, something completely different that you did not think of in the first place, that seemed so distant in that specific situation, where you just couldn't grasp that something else might come in very handy for you. And how I was able to realize that anew was by moving out of a specific zone I've built myself. And the zone I'm talking about is the area in which I found myself in the last few months, sticking to one thing, to one task, to one project. And I still think this is the best way to go in the long run when trying to actually build upon the idea you're having, and the best outcome is going to come with the most focus and the least amount of distraction you get from other things you're doing. So sticking to that thing I am trying to fulfill or trying to get done, trying to get out, is a very big point, which determines how far I can get with it, as my range of focus is being used in the full range, which is, or can seem like quite a monotone thing, but it's actually a big kind of advantage you're having, because when there's a hyper-focus working its place through a specific thing, then nothing's gonna stop it so easy. And when nothing can be stopped down, no other thing can get more important in a specific situation to follow. And that's why I think that it's such a powerful thing to have a few little pieces which build up your whole routine, your whole approach of progressing. As I think that when breaking it anew so often, or jumping around from one to the other, that sort of focus that actually plays that big role in the outcome is going to be shifted so many times that in even an internalized manner, where you'd be able to see for yourself how far you can take it, is being broken down onto a level that's not actually a thing I want to pursue. Because when I know that the thing I'm doing could be done better by just focusing on that one thing I got in mind, then why shall I then jump to the next thing all of a sudden? Why did I not just stick to it? What is the initial reason? And I think experience brings enough reasons to let you feel different about what you're trying to do at the moment. And that's totally fine. And I can absolutely relate to that, because once you're down to a certain amount in something you're doing, you'll likely get to know that sort of thing on another level, and therefore you can determine for yourself how far you still want to take it. But that's also kind of dependent on what your initial motivation of doing something in a specific area was about. Because when that motivation like fired up so much intrinsic value for you, so many feelings that showed you that this is the right way to go, because you feel like there's something you can fulfill within yourself by just doing that thing, by just moving into that direction where you can get closer to that, then I think that is enough to show you that you can stick to it now. You can follow along this path, which is likely going to be a hard one, which is likely going to be an intense one, but it's the one that shows you the biggest horizon in that moment, where you were able to grasp that specific thing in such a clear way. So when I come back to doing a move out of the state you thought you'd be in a great position in, it can lead to different kind of outcomes. It can either distance you from your vision, as you like clicked on pause and moved into a new direction, where in that new field you'll find new stuff to get excited about, new skills to be acquired by yourself, new like actions you're making, that all of a sudden with all these new flows that are coming or being laid in front of you, you somehow start missing out on the initial vision that you are following along all the time. And I think that moment can be a quite a detrimental one, because many visions are about to get lost in the excitement of something new, only because the new thing brings so much new feelings. And when the act of searching for a new kind of movement within yourself to break down a certain habit, to feel life in new forms, it's going to limit the outcome in the end. Sure, because you stopped approaching something that was so clear in the first place and had its reason you're following it. But now it's not anymore, because something more exciting seemingly just popped up and you started following that. And after doing that, you'll see something else, maybe not. It can also be a case that you'll just stick to it. But it should also just be known and seen that it can always lead to that problematic of finding something new you're excited about. And this seems so hard because it's not even a problem to get up on something new, because when you're doing it great and you find so much flow in it, yeah, why should you just stop? It can be that one thing you'll likely stick to forever because it's just your biggest passion you've ever seen. And I wish that to all of you and for me as well. But I think I found that thing that makes it seem so much clearer for me. And so can you. But being in the position of knowing that this is the case when you are someone who is curious, someone who is striving for more, for something greater, for more experience on its way through all these kind of fields you are tapping into, then this is also and can be quite a big point from which on you're moving into a direction where you just stop using all you've done. Maybe you can come up with a connection to build a bridge into that new kind of thing you like to do now. And that is even another thing I think that should be considered when finding new things, or just keep in mind when living life and coming up with your own curiosity about finding something new or just doing, that whatever you're doing, no matter what it is, and no matter how big of a difference another action might bring to that thing you've done initially, you're always taking very many things from it, like experience in a certain field. And you can abstract experience and detailed things you got to see and got to understand into that new kind of field you are approaching after a while. So you're never losing on anything you have started in the first place, but you'll likely have to leave stuff behind for good sake, as it's feeling best to do something different in that moment. But I just never want to tap into these waters again where I'll be stuck in that one kind of act where I just stop doing something because that excitement of the new thing I just all of a sudden got to see kills the old habit I built and the skills I acquired in that and the positioning I already brought myself into. So keeping that in mind, I'll definitely try to take the things I've seen as something that made me more myself today, made me more versatile. I'm not seeing these jumps from here to there, from that skill to that one, from this sport to this, from this instrument to that, as something that's now not in my, for my good, because I could have been a pro playing piano, or I could have been a great basketball player. Why should I worry about these things, what I could have been, when what I am now is all that matters? And what I am now is someone who is versatile, doing stuff, who is still curious, getting to know new stuff, and is in peace with his future, with his past, and therefore can move into new waters and be like conscious about oneself and confident about what I am, because I just took it and looked at it and reflected on it. And now I see things in a different kind of light. Now I can say, okay, that is a certain outcome when it comes to this. And that's the thing I don't want to see no more, because I've seen how the outcome of this is going to be and impact me. And when that kind of reality forms itself anew, where the framing of your view is being switched because you got these realizations in front of your lens, in front of your eyes, in front of your life, then just looking at it in a deeper way to attract this sort of realization, to get it into that state where I'll be able to live with it, I think is still such a center point of everything I'm learning on the way. Because once there's clarity which forms itself from the past experiences I made, from the initial anchor points that were telling me what life is and how it's been going for myself, then I'll be able to reach for that clarity once I've looked at it in a way where I'm not losing on that realization no more. So that's why I think that I won't step myself into something very different from my vision no more, as long as the vision is not being like reached over by something different that has its place and its reason to be now the new thing, which has to be concluded in a very clear manner. And now I'm getting back to an example. I've just recently been around in a certain new field, in a field of people who are deep down into a scenery that I've just looked at from the outside. And I'm still far from being inside, and I would never consider myself as being inside, because my mind's defining where and in which kind of thing I'm moving. And no matter what someone is thinking of, in which kind of scene of people I might hang around, all of a sudden is not worth a thought for me, because I gotta know for myself what I'm doing. And every little action that I'm doing for myself, and nobody should care about that other than me. But coming back to what that latest experience brought me to see is that excitement I was talking about, that new kind of field of people, of connections, of and certain approach in life, being in such not high society, but you can imagine how all this kind of fashion modeling scenery might be, and that comes with quite some impact on oneself once spending time with people living that already, living social media, living modeling, doing that for their, to sustain their lives and how they live. And it was not that I just all of a sudden saw so much potential in doing something like that, so I'll need to do this as well and completely change my whole approach. I would never, because I'm myself. That's why I'm doing these kind of videos, But something is happening in oneself once you see a certain ease of doing, of living, when someone is being able to do that thing by approaching some sort of system that person built for themselves within a social medium. So this is such an interesting thing to see, because what they've built up essentially was always a certain understanding of what might be interesting for others. I'm talking about a specific kind of influencer scene, not of people who are just doing what they love or what they feel like, but people doing something because they know that something like that is going to pop in some other people's minds, and it's likely going to get viral, and they'll be able to get reach out of this. I'm talking of these people. And this is a skill you can acquire by understanding what attention is. And I was so buffed when I saw that, how these people are actually behind all these facades, because they are all of a sudden someone completely different, or not at all. And that is like an interesting thing, because you can never know who you're actually facing, because people are good at playing someone else, especially when they know how to grab attention from people. But yeah, that latest experience I was having, because I got onto an event from a certain connection I was having, was such an overexciting moment of seeing how life can be, that it was not fading some of my visions, but it had its impact because I moved out of my routine so hard. And doing that and realizing what I've seen and witnessed gave me such a different kind of vibe. And I underestimated how hard the contrast of life can hit you once you tap into completely different kind of fields. Because I was at home for weeks, meeting almost no one other to my mom and dad and my grandma, and only being on my phone with a good friend from time to time, talking to him. But I was basically on my own stuff, building the app, making these videos the last 2 weeks or so, and yeah, just doing what I know I have to approach. And once you're being like pushed out into a new kind of field, you have to get back to it. And it's not like that I've been with these kind of people for weeks. No, I was there 2-3 days ago, and it's coming back felt so different. So what I'm trying to say in a sense with this is that approaching something knowingly, approaching something when knowingly being in a different kind of field where you approach life completely different can be quite an invitation for yourself to break a habit once you started to see some things you want to attract for your own life. And when these things are coming too close, I think the vulnerability for you to break old habits and patterns is very much higher and very much likely to happen, because you've been like almost hit by this love bow, by this effect of something that plays on you. So I'll keep that in mind, that no matter what's coming, no matter how interesting or appealing it might seem, and no matter how far I can look out on as I'm able to decipher many things, and even only being in a position of analyzing something from distant can be so exciting that you start to lose what actually fueled these things you tried doing before. So yeah, it's not like I lost fuel of pursuing my vision, but I know that this is a big part, or played a big part in my recent years, where I was jumping around from this to that and not knowing what I'm actually wanting from life, because I haven't questioned deep enough and haven't stick to what I actually think is great. I'm snapping you off because you gotta bite me, but you're flying back to me. You want me to kill you? I won't, as long as you don't come back. Okay, so keep off. Yeah, I think that's a good point to make. Now you bit me. I'm not getting shocked that hard usually, but you hit me in a great spot. Gosh. Yeah. I'm also happy I got this new kind of thing in my repertoire now. I hope it worked out, because otherwise this video won't come to you. So yeah, excited to have invested in what I love to do, and I'm happy to see the results, and happy to have been here once again with an amazing view. And yeah, I hope you had a nice day and enjoy the rest of it. I think I'm going to end the videos with a small tour of where I am currently, and yeah, that is the view. I love it. So I hope I could provide something for you today, and yeah, see you very soon. Bye bye.